Here you can see my palette being laid out. This is my stationary palette, one of the two that I use. It is a large piece of glass on a tabouret with a neutral wood color underneath. And I'm just laying out my colors here. You'll also see here my other palette is in the drawer, and I use that from time to time for different reasons. And these are the brushes that I use. They are all Robert Simmons filberts, and there's a fan brush there, and I have just a couple palette knives. Sometimes I use calipers to measure. I've got some alizarin crimson and sap green and some turpentine. Just thinned it out. So I've got a runny sort of pigment there. It's just a brown, and it's going to serve as my drawing tool, and also when I block in my shadows to start off with. So I know that this girl is from head to toe less than 4 heads tall. So I have 4 heads marked out now. So these are going to serve as my guidelines for the painting. So early on, I'm mostly just thinking about basic shapes based on the size of the head and the common distances there. Just really want to get everything in the right spot using my hands and the brush to measure the proportion. So after getting the feet placed, we go ahead and work into the figure. Work on the knees and legs, making sure that everything feels right. And also place some marks within the dress to try to just highlight and talk about, even at this early stage, the nature of the dress. Here, as I outline the dress, I'm already editing down the necessary elements to convey exactly what's going on. There is a certain stiffness to the cotton. I want to make sure that is well understood, but also want it to feel comfortably draped over the figure as well. Here, as I work on the background, I'm really putting in these marks to just build a structure within which the figure will sit. They are not incredibly important at this point, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on them because they're more than likely going to be covered up at some point. But I do just want to make sure that the entire picture space looks correct in this full life-size, and just make sure the figure is well positioned within the canvas before I go forward. Okay, so I've now established the full figure on the picture space, and I am going to work into the head. The light on the cheek here, I want to make sure I keep that canvas bare there. Oh, this is in shadow here. So here, as I work with this alizarin, crimson, and sap green color with my brush and the paper towel and my fingers. I'm just thinking very simply, getting it down to 2 values. And while most of my thought process is centered around value, the color is very intentional, as this warm brown will serve as an underpainting for all of the shadow areas in the flesh tone.
And this mark I'm making here is the top of the eyebrow. I find it useful to do it that way instead of marking where the eye is. It's a little easier for me to understand where the planes of light are. Essentially, this whole space is in shadow, and to mark where the eye is in there is a little bit arbitrary to me, especially at this point. And here, I just want to kind of move some of this paint around. I don't want it to be that dark. I want this texture here in case some of the paint were to show through. I do like this warm underpainting, but the paper towel gives it a nice texture that kind of just sits back there. Alright, so I'm going to measure. That's about right. A little lower.
I first start measuring by using the calipers to look at the vertical distances in the face. I want to look first at the biggest shapes and distances. First the brow line and then the nose. Break that down to the mouth. Once I get that in the right place, I'm going to look to the eyes, make sure that they're in the right place as well as the right size. Once I have the eyes established, I can use the edges of the eyes, the inside and the outside, and everything within the eyes to locate the rest of the shapes by using my brush as a plumb line.
And so I'm just going to trust that what I see on my palette is correct and just start building these forms.
So here I've picked up a different brush and mixed up a transitional color between the lightest light of the flesh and the shadow. It's titanium white, alizarin, crimson, a little bit of cadmium yellow, sap green, and cerulean blue.
Okay, now I'm going to go lighter and cooler with this color. Get some of these cool colors in the hair up here that are also in the transition from light to dark. So I'm just going to move through these places and just continue to hold off on painting in our flesh tone in the lightest light.